2 weeks and two matches is all we really have to determine the fate of the CAF Champions League group stages. So over the next 8, 9, 10 days, I think it's going to be action-packed, full of drama. We're going to have you covered here. Um, all of that and more up next on this episode of the African Five-A-Side podcast. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the African Five-A-Side podcast. I know I slacked a little last week. I didn't actually analyze the matches. We did preview them very quickly. As I explained, last week was a hectic week for me. I was traveling. I was in Qatar for the French Super Cup match between PSG and Monaco. Did a video for that, which should be coming out after the weekend. So maybe when it comes out after the weekend, I can post a small preview or just a few clips here on the YouTube video. So on the YouTube channel, so you guys can at least see what I was up to. But that's the reason why I watched the matches. I watched 6 matches, but I didn't really have the time to sit down and make a video as I was traveling, and the travel had lots of different layovers. Then I got home and I had some things to do at home, and so yeah, apologies for that. But if you don't know, this is the African Football Roundup, a show in the African Five-A-Side podcast. My name is Maher Mizahi. I'm your host, and as always, this is brought to you by africasaCountry.com. Anyways, enough with the excuses. Let's get into it. Actually, as I'm recording right now, there's a match that's going to start in the next few hours. Mouloudia of Algiers against TP Mazembe. So probably by the time you watch this match is going to be over with, but at least you could see what my thoughts were prior to the match, and then you could see if I knew what I was talking about or not. But I did watch MC of Algiers' match against Al Hilal in Mauritania 1 week ago. And I thought MC of Algiers looked really good. That was the new coach, Khalid Ben Yahya's first match in charge after taking over from Patrice Baumel. And he had them on the front foot. They looked the sharper side, in my opinion. They looked a lot more fluid than they had on past occasions. Remember, the problem with Patrice Baumel is that they weren't scoring enough goals, and I thought they created more chances as well. I think a main reason really is the kind of personnel that this new coach was using. Previously, MC of Algiers, especially along the front line of attack, they were using 3 strikers. And I had mentioned that this is something I think that Sundowns was doing at times with Ribeiro, Shalulile, and Reyners. And when you have 3 players that can almost spearhead an attack, um, I don't think it's very fluid. They don't have any true natural wingers, because a winger will have all different kinds of runs, a whole different package of things that they can do. And so in this match, last week, against Al Hilal, Mouloudia of Algiers played with Amin Messousa, a young, I think he's 19, 20, 21 years old, player that was playing in France, that was playing for French youth national teams, and MC of Algiers made a big move in signing him this summer. Just didn't get a chance under Baumel, and sometimes that's how it is. With a new coach, different players get different chances, and I thought Amin Messousa looked okay, but he came up big with a big assist, actually, to Sofiane Belouizdad, another player that seems to be getting more of a chance, because usually that would have been Andy Delors, but he was injured. On the left, it would have been Zakaria and IG. They were injured, but I think this was also a coach's decision, in that he wanted to use these players that were maybe not given as much chances as Patrice Baumel, as under Patrice Baumel. And so I think them using 2 wingers in Meziani and Messousa, and then maybe using a different striker instead of Andy Delors, who doesn't know the CAF Champions League, doesn't know the Algerian League, and has been struggling for the first 3-4 months of his Mouloudia of Algiers career. Instead, they use Sofiane Belouizdad, who has scored, I think more than a dozen goals last year, or maybe it was 2 years ago. A player that has proven that he can score goals on the African continent. I like the direction MC of Algiers is going, even though it's only been 1 match in the CAF Champions League. For this match, they do get Andy Delors back. They do get Zakaria and IG back. So my question is, do they have to use them? I don't want to go back to that system of a 4-3-3 with 3 strikers on the front line. I want to stick with Amin Messousa on the left wing, Taib Miziani on the right wing, and Sofiane Belouizdad as a striker. The other thing that you guys have to look out for MC of Algiers today, if you do tune in, if you're watching this before the match, I urge you to tune in, because I think we're gonna get the best atmosphere of the CAF Champions League tonight at the 5th of July Stadium in Algiers. MC of Algiers, they have their own stadium, but it was brand new, and they had tested it for the qualifying stages of the CAF Champions League. And in one of those matches, MC of Algiers had to play against Monastir. And when they played against Monastir, there was a lot of crowd trouble. One supporter even died. Police shot tear gas onto the pitch, and some of the players had inhaled it and everything. And as a result, CAF suspended, or they didn't suspend, but they said, you guys have to play 2 matches behind closed doors. And so MC of Algiers played with that handicap at the beginning of the group stages where they played the first 2 matches at home behind closed doors. And now this is the first and perhaps the only match that MC of Algiers gets to play in front of their fans. And again, I think their fans personally are amongst the best in Africa, probably top 3 to 5, something like that. They just came out with a list of the I forget the name of the Ultras web media outlet, but it's something that ranks ultra groups around the world, and I think MC of Algiers finished third. So I would just urge you to tune in just for the atmosphere alone, because not only do they have great fans, but they only have this one occasion maybe to support them, to play in front of them in these group stages. And so I think that's going to be something that will be a huge advantage for the club from Algiers. As for TP Mazembe, look, they're desperate. They have to win both matches and hope that Yanga drops points against Al Hilal to even have a small chance. And essentially, after watching, 4 matches, no, 3 matches, I didn't watch their last match against Young Africans, but after watching 3 matches, I think what really undid TP Mazembe this year is the transfer strategy over the summer. For those that don't know, they sold a lot of their key players, or some of them left for free, but Joel Beya, Philip Kinzumbi, Glody Lekonza, Kevin Mondeka, and I can keep going on and on because we've talked about this week in and week out for them, and they never really replaced them. And that's because they sort of had a transfer ban in place from FIFA. And as that is the case, like you cannot, if they were ever going to get out of the group stages, they would have had to completely rely on the young players to be spectacular. And only one player has been spectacular, one young player, and that's Oscar Cabuit. But he can't do everything. I think he scored 3 goals in the group stages. He's earned himself a move abroad. But nobody else has really, in my opinion, stepped up to the occasion, especially in attacking midfield or as a striker. There have been some good midfielders like Badamasi, some decent defenders as well, but nobody else along the attacking line has stepped up like Kabwit has to help him out. And as a result, that's really been the undoing of TP Mazembe, in my opinion. So I'm heavily favoring MC of Algiers here. This is one of those clash of styles matches because whenever TP Mazembe plays against North African sides, you can really see a big clash of styles, in my opinion, because North African sides, they like to play with the ball between, the lines. They don't like to play too many balls over the top. They don't like to play at a frantic pace, end to end. They like to keep things controlled and in front of them. Whereas Mazembe are quite the opposite. They will play long diagonals, chase it all over the pitch, bump into you, force you to make errors, and create a lot of chances. So, in the sense that I actually like that style of play, as long as you don't concede, but I like that style of play away from home. I think that's the only thing that really gives them a chance here. But I'm heavily favoring Mouloudia, and I think they're going to win 2-1. That's my prediction. Next, we're going to talk about Manama against Sundowns. That's going to be a Sunday early afternoon match. And this is a desperation match for Maniama. It's going to be played in Kinshasa. Remember, that's not where Maniama's from, but that's where they're going to be playing their matches. And they need their first win of the group stages if they're going to stay alive. And even Sundowns, they're not desperate yet, but the fire is being lit under their bums a bit because they're just stuck at 5 points in this group. The first thing I would say if you're Sundowns is keep this in mind. The other match in the group stage is AFR Rabat against Raja Casablanca, and that's a Moroccan derby, or Clasico, you can say. And the most likely outcome of there is going to be a draw, right? And you're really okay with any scenario, in my opinion, except for a win. A Raja Casablanca win would make sure they leapfrog you if you don't win, and then AFR Rabat are also ahead of you, and AFR Rabat is the final match of the group stages, so they're going to be hyper motivated to not lose against you. So if Rabat win, for example, you're gravy because they're probably going to be qualified already. They might not be as highly motivated. That last match is in South Africa, and if you can pick up 3 points against Manyama, I mean, there's no reason to even you're already through anyways. But even if, for example, you pick up 1 point and Asfar win, I think you're still in a good place. But if Raja win, that's when the pressure is really going to pick up if you don't get a victory here. So really, I think knowing what's going on in the other match, I think if you're Sundowns, you're away You're in Kinshasa. It's going to be difficult conditions. Just don't lose this match. Manyama have proven that they're tough to beat. They've only lost once, and that was away from home in Rabat last week. Um, and yeah, but really the only time I've seen Sundowns, I think they've played better than their 5 points in this group. The only time I've seen them really struggle was last week, actually, and that was with Asfar Rabat's high press. Um, I thought like 3 or 4 times, especially in the first half, they're trying to be cute and play the ball out of the back, and they would just give up these easy chances that they didn't really pay for. I mean, thankfully for the South Africans, they ended up conceding on a set piece, but they almost easily gifted Raja Casablanca 2, 3 goals, and that was because they didn't seem to know how to deal with Asfar Rabat's high press. Luckily for Sundowns, they probably won't have to see high press again. Manyema don't really play that kind of style of football, and then they're going to be at home against AS FAR Rabat, so I don't really anticipate them coming out, kamikaze style and high pressing the South Africans. But I do wonder about that in the future. Is some another team, perhaps if they make it to the knockout stage, is going to watch the tape against that Raja match and say, "Hey, when we play them away from home, let's make sure we put them under pressure," because they don't look that confident playing the ball out from behind, and they seemed completely insistent on doing it. I don't know why they didn't just give up halfway through and say, "Okay, let's recoup after halftime and see if we want to continue to do this." That was really interesting. Um, Other than that, I really liked for the Raja match. I liked the combination between Reyners and Ribeiro, especially when Ribeiro drops deep and Reyners sort of runs past defenders from the left wing. I thought that was a really nice combination. I thought Ronwen Williams was still a beast, of course. But I still question Sundowns' mentality when they travel to tough places like Casablanca, Algiers. They still haven't won a match in Morocco, for example. It's not an easy place to go and win matches, but I wonder sometimes, yeah, about Sundowns' mentality in the CAF Champions League. So no, uh, no shade or anything, but I thought that was a pretty bad loss to Raja, and I know they had a man sent off, Obas. That was maybe a harsh sending off. It was one of those where it's like an orange card, right? I thought it wasn't very high up. It was around the ankle. It wasn't on the shin. It was a slightly late challenge, but at the same time, it was dangerous. And he did seem to linger on the player's foot for a little bit. It's one of those where I think even if there's VAR, I don't think you can overturn it because it's not a clear and obvious error. But I've also seen those given as yellow cards, right? So, anyways, Sundowns here. If if they can win in Kinshasa, that would go a long way in assuaging any questions I have about their mentality. But I don't anticipate they will. And if I was the coach, I wouldn't be that insistent on winning this match. I would just make sure you don't make those silly mistakes of trying to play the ball out from behind and gift a goal to your opponent, especially at this stage of the competition. As for Manyama, they're really taking all the pressure off themselves. Their coach in the press conference said, "All the pressure is on Sundowns. Everything is still in our hands. We control our destiny, but they're the ones that are used to playing this competition, not us. We don't have any players that are suspended." Um, yeah, so they're really looking at it like all the pressure is on them, not us. So we're just gonna play our football. All of our chances are still intact, and we'll see where that takes us. The one thing I would worry about for Sundowns, they conceded a set piece, but it was really a problem of disorganization. It wasn't like losing an aerial duel. But I looked at Manyama's striker, Jefte Kitambala. Man, I watched him play like just 30 minutes against Asfar Rabat. He's a big boy. You need to make sure you get a body on him on set pieces. And so is Ndombele, the Manyama captain and the center half. So I think Ajay Basiala, by the way, also takes good free kicks. So be careful from free kicks. Manyama against Asfar Rabat, I thought set up very well defensively as well in an organized block. So I assume even away from home, Sundowns are going to have the lion's share of possession over here. And I think Manyama is just going to make sure they're organized and then try to hit on a counterattack, but especially on set pieces. So just make sure you're defending set pieces well if you're Sundowns. And Manyama's desperation, because they haven't won a match yet and they have to win this match, might open them up. And one thing that could undo them is an early goal. I think if Sundowns can get an early goal, they'll run away from this match pretty easily. But I don't think they'll get one. My prediction is that match is going to finish 1-1, and Sundowns will go with 6 points into that final match against Rabat. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on Sagrada Esperanza or versus Pyramids because I don't care that much. For me, this group has been over after match day 2. I think Esperance and Pyramids are quite clearly the two sides that are going to qualify. I just watched the highlights for Pyramids against Esperance. It was good for them to beat Esperance after that spanking that they received in Tunis in match day 3. Um, Ibrahim Adil with the bicycle kick, by the way, so good. Um, Sagrada also won a match against Joliba, so they're sitting on 5 points right now, which is a little bit better than I expected to. But I think they really needed to win both matches against Joliba and for them to be sitting on 7 points right now for them to have a chance. So I don't think they have a chance. Expecting Esperance and Pyramids to do enough to pull away from this group, and I don't really have the energy or the time to watch a Sagrada Esperanza match rates now because I just don't rate them. And I think this match is going to finish as a scoring draw, 1-1, but really just because Pyramids is not taking not taking Sagrada seriously. And Sagrada's not, don't get me wrong, they're not bums. There are bums in this competition, but they're not bums. Neither is Manama, for example. But I just think Pyramids have enough quality to either win this match or for it to be a scoring draw. Moving on quickly as well, Stade d'Abidjan versus Al Ahly. I watched Al Ahly against CR Belouizdad. This might be a little bit bold, but are the wheels falling off at Al Ahly? And that's a tough thing to say, especially because in Algiers, they didn't really play with their starting 11. You know, they had, when I looked at the starting lineup, Abdel Fattah, Ashraf Dari, Kuka in midfield, Amr Suleya, and Karim Debis. 5 players really that are not really starting 11 players, right? They're more replacements for Mohamed Hani, Yasser Ibrahim, Marwan Atiyah, Akram Tawfiq, Percy Tau maybe, or Tahir Mohamed Tahir. Those are the main starters, right? And so it feels difficult to judge them. Plus, they've had a really congested schedule, of course. They've played so many matches over the last 18 months. But something feels off. Number one, they have a crazy amount of injuries. So Ashraf Dari picked up an injury midweek against Smuha. Ali Ma'loul has been recovering from an Achilles that he suffered in the CAF Champions League final. Omar Kamal is unavailable. Mohamed Hani might be coming back finally from an injury he suffered, I think, against Zamalek in the Super Cup. But he's really uncertain and fit as well for the next week or so. Um, Percy Tau, we're hearing rumors, is preparing to make a move to Qatar. And so he's not going to be traveling with the team to Cote d'Ivoire. Kahraba's injured in attack. Yahya Hadiyatullah apparently is getting surgery on his face. So really the entire defense and more than half, almost half the team is decimated with injury. Even the coach was injured. Well, he wasn't injured, but he got sick midweek. He had a bout of gastroenteritis. And it's one of those where it's like, what's going on over here? Because initially I wasn't sweating it. I said Al Ahly have a big enough squad to get through these kinds of things, and the fact that they're still winning matches. For example, that match that they beat Stade d'Abidjan 4-2. You say, wow, this is Al Ahly. They're dealing with injuries and they're still beating teams. But as time has passed, they're looking less and less impressive, in my opinion, in the CAF Champions League with these replacements. They need that starting 11. But even their starting 11, I'm not sure is as good as it was a year ago. When I look at the goal that they gave up, Mohamed Shinawi, for example, that was a bad save that was rebounded, and then Naufel Khasef, slots the ball in for CR Belouizdad. Is his sort of level kind of dropping a bit? Ali Ma'loul, is he ever going to come back from an Achilles injury at the age of 33, 34, in full fitness after after a year out? I don't think so. Um, Percy Tau, he's leaving, and if he doesn't leave, is he playing at the level he was 2 years ago? Absolutely not. Um, I don't know. Personally, I don't think Al Ahly is at the level that they were before. Maybe it's too dramatic to say the wheels are falling off, but a loss here in Abidjan to Stade d'Abidjan, don't get me wrong, I don't think they're going to lose. But a loss here would make me really think that the wheels are falling off in a sense. As for Stade d'Abidjan, really, again, I don't have the time or the energy to analyze them, but I just think that this is one of those where it's like, hey, Al Ahly are coming playing at home at our house. This is one of those things that you could tell your kids about in the future. You know, we could have the chance to beat Al Ahly, the great, one of the greatest Al Ahly teams in history. Not the greatest, but one of them. Let's do it. We have nothing to lose anyways. Let's throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. So I think it's going to be actually closer than expected. Um, I still would favor an Al Ahly win, but I'm going to predict a scoring draw over here. I'm going to predict a 1-1 or a 2-2. Now, the two biggest matches coming up are the ones that we're going to be previewing next. AS FAR Rabat versus Raja Casablanca. the Moroccan Clasico match that is going to probably determine at least one team that's getting out of Group B. And then the next one is going to be Orlando Pirates versus CR Belouizdad. But let's start with the Moroccan Clasico. First of all, Raja Casablanca cannot lose. Big win against Sundowns, by the way. Really, really good job. Because after 3 match days, they were not looking good. But they get that big win against Sundowns, and I think it was deserved. Even though Sundowns were with 10 men for more than half the match, Raja deserved to win that match. And they're, I think, at game number 6 now with an interim coach, Hafid Abdel they haven't, remember, they tried to bring in Miguel Gamondi, didn't really work. This has been a sort of catastrophic year for Raja in the league because last year they won it in such impressive fashion, and this year um, they're, I think, might be 16 points behind RS Berkane last time I checked. So yeah, still, they're very much in this. And when I watch them play against Sundowns, again, I love them in AFR Rabat. I love when I put here they're comfortable in the Mexican boxing fighting style. And that's what I spoke about last time. It's like Mexican boxers, they like to get in and almost go forehead to forehead and exchange body blows and short powerful punches. And that's what I like when I watch Raja Casablanca, because like I said, nobody's making runs past the final man. It's not end to end stuff. It's tightly packed, it's organized. They're playing between the 3 lines, making overlapping runs. It's really beautiful football, but they're still lacking a lot. They're lacking a proper target man. They're lacking maybe a proper winger, not an inverted winger like they have with Ennafati or what's his name? Um, Zarhouni is the other one, Naufal Zarhouni. But like maybe a real winger with a lot of pace that can get down the touchline and maybe put a cross in. Yeah, they don't play, like they don't have like a real striker, in my opinion. Najari's not like a real striker. It's more like a false nine. And so they rely on set pieces. That's how they scored against Mouloudia Sundowns. Set pieces or beautifully constructed, intricate passing pattern goals um, to really score goals. And I think they're going to struggle to score. They've struggled to score goals throughout the group stages and even in the qualifying rounds. So, look, I like how they play. I think it's pleasing to the eye. It's really technical football, intense football. I just don't know if it lends itself to, you know, scoring a lot of goals at home and putting matches away. And that's why I think this is going to be another one of those Mexican boxing matches. Because Asfar Rabat, what I said about Raja Casablanca, copy and paste it and put it for Asfar Rabat. It's a similar kind of style, even though they have a little more power, a little more speed. They have like a target man like Joel Bea. Oribonia can deputize as a target man, even if I think he's more of a winger, the Botswanan forward. Still, their styles more or less, in my opinion, resemble one another. And I said something 2 weeks ago. I said, I think Rabat actually have a better starting 11 on paper than Raja do. I don't know. I think this match is going to tell us a lot about both of these teams. I think Rabat are in a better place in terms of they have their coach, less instability. They're going to be at home technically against Meknes. I mean, in Meknes against Raja. Um and they have, yeah, they're leading the group. They're better in the league as well. So I think they have all the advantages. In North Africa, I know in Algeria they would have said, "Oh, the two boards are going to get together and come to a gentleman's agreement and shake on it and agree on a draw." But I think that's probably the most natural result is a draw here, probably 0-0 or 1-1. But one final point that I'll make about this match, and it has not almost nothing to do with the match, is I'm reading conflicting reports. Some reports are saying that there will be no matches, sorry, no fans allowed in this match, and the other ones are saying that there's no Raja fans allowed to travel to Meknes. Either way, there was an interesting article that I read about Morocco is hosting the World Cup in 5 years' time. They're hosting the AFCON at the end of this year. To host such big competitions, you have to know how to control crowds. And this is probably an episode all on its own about the problem of, I'm not going to pin this solely on Morocco because this is a problem everywhere. This is a problem in Algeria, Tunisia, and we could even say Libya to a certain extent. But particularly the 3 countries, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, is crowd control. The security apparatus, whether that's police, gendarmes, you want to throw in stewards in there, they don't know how to control or how to, I would even say facilitate traffic in North African footballing stadiums. And then on top of that, we do have a violence problem in those stadiums as well. And so the article that I was reading just said it's not a good look, 5 years ahead of the World Cup. What's going to happen when Morocco hosts a match in Morocco, and somebody from Poland or Lithuania or I don't know, Luxembourg wants to go to the stadium, and it's just chaos because everybody wants to go to the match, and the person bought a ticket, but then they realize, they can't get there because our experience going to the stadium as North Africans is, it's just absolute chaos, and sometimes people just rush in, and so can they get that under control? Can they get it fixed ahead of staging these international events of the grandest scale? That's something that probably going to talk about more and more as the years go on. But this is just a first, I thought, an interesting first shot from a Moroccan journalist writing this article saying, this is not a good look. We need to be able to play these matches as tense as they are, as as intimidating as they are. We need to be able to play them with supporters and to prove that we can stage these kinds of matches. Anyways, moving on to Pirates versus CR Belouizdad. Hey, I thought Pirates, I said in the last video, I thought they were going to step up and win the matches that they're supposed to win. And I didn't watch the match. I watched the extended highlights. Pirates look good. And the first goal they scored, what I would say to Orlando Pirates fans watching this, the first goal they scored, that's something that went around the entire continent. People that don't pay attention, even don't pay attention to, CAF Champions League, and definitely don't pay attention to Orlando Pirates. Maybe just watch their own country play in the CAF Champions League. They all posted that on different social media platforms. There was like, wow, these guys play good football. It piques everybody's attention. Like, what's going on over there? And hey, I Pirates fans tell me like, you don't know, you just watch, like CAF Champions League matches and you think you know our team. No, 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 no. But I think, to be fair, I think everybody's saying like Tito's creativity, Maswangani's creativity is absolutely central. And I think you could see like just in that first goal, his vision, his technique, his touch, just to completely destabilize the other team, Stade d'Abidjan, with that back heel flick. That is what created the goal. But they Pirates could have walked the ball in. Um, and yeah, it seemed like they were in the mood from the extended highlights. The second goal, more magic from Tito, after collecting the pass from Nkota, unreal turn. I mean, that turn displays intelligence, instinct, intelligence because he looks up, he knows where he is positionally on the pitch, and then the instinct to just the player's on your back. You haven't taken a look at him. You don't know exactly. You know there's probably somebody coming, but you don't know how far they are, and the instinct to say this is gonna work. And when he turns to how close the ball, passes in between both players, the skill obviously to pull all of it off, and then when you're one on one with the goalkeeper, the maturity and the finishing ability as well. I mean, he's a top player, and I think it's been unfortunate that he's missed 2 matches in the group stages, but I think he's going to be absolutely central to any kind of run that Pirates make, particularly at home when they have a lot of possession. Yeah, the only thing I would say is, yeah, I haven't seen such a pretty package of highlights in the CAF Champions League in a very long time. And Pirates, like I said, that performance went past the South African public, went past even on some occasions past the African public. I think that's one that's international, and everybody's, like I said, now Pirates are considered one of the favorites in my opinion. Um, and I've listened to an American football coach that says, "Don't eat the rat poison." All these compliments that I just said over the last 2 minutes, take them and throw them out because it's rat poison. You're gonna eat it, it's gonna taste good, and then it's gonna kill you. Um, CR Belouizdad match. This is the match right here. Forget about Stade d'Abidjan. This is the match for qualification. Because don't expect to win in Cairo in the last match of the sixth match day. If you absolutely need to get the 3 points there, then we could talk about it. But for right now, this is the qualification is on the line right here. Um, if you draw this match, you're in a little bit of a shaky place. If you win this match, you're through. If you lose this match, you're in real trouble. Okay, so this is the one, because beating Stade d'Abidjan is impressive. Yeah, you guys could play beautiful football and everything. But beating CR Belouizdad is a whole other kettle of fish. I know you beat them in Algeria, but this is a different CR Belouizdad than the one at the beginning of the year. At the beginning of the year, they were at the bottom of the Algerian league table when you played against them. They had completely changed. They just brought in their other coach, the new coach. They had completely changed all of the personnel and the squad, and so they were finding trouble adapting. Now CR Belouizdad are threatening, if they win their matches in hand, to be top of the Algerian league. They've been winning matches in the CAF Champions League, including they beat Ahly. They snapped their streak of 27 matches unbeaten. This is a good CR Belouizdad side. If you can beat them again here, Again, you're just stacking now. You're proving things time and time and time and time again. Of course, people told me last time that Orlando Stadium is at altitude, so that's one thing that's going to favor Pirates. They're playing at home, of course, that's going to favor Pirates. Um, but I thought CR Belouizdad looked good against Al Ahly. The wingers, especially Mizian, was fantastic. What are my notes over here? Mahyous as a target man, I thought was very very good again. Even when he came off for Islam Slimani later, Slimani I thought did a decent job of spearheading the attack. The one thing I didn't like about CR Belouizdad, two things: distribution from the back was catastrophic, and that's a trait across the Algerian league. When you see South African sides, when you see Moroccan sides, how they're distributing from the back, I think Algerian sides have a long way to go in improving that. And then also the set pieces. Set pieces, when I watched them against Al Ahly, it was just basically people standing around the 18-yard box, and then the cross comes in, and then people are trying to get on the end of it. Whereas if you watch Stade d'Abidjan, even if you watch who else did I watch? I want to say El Hilal. El Hilal, I think, was the other team that I watched. Really, really good with set pieces. You have, certain players making this run, others making that run, putting in place natural picks so that, your best aerial threat can separate themselves from defenders, and so on and so forth. So CR Belouizdad really, those are two things I didn't like. I like the play of the wing players, even though they didn't really score. I like how combative they were. I like the intensity, but needs to improve distribution from the back and needs to improve set pieces. One of those things matters in this match. A set piece prowess. They probably will need to score a set piece to win in South Africa. I don't think they really need to care about distribution that much. When you're away from home like this, hoof it away. Don't be like Sundowns and play yourself into trouble here. Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting match. If CR Belouizdad are ahead, be careful because they will waste time. They managed to waste. I saw how much time they wasted against Al Ahly in stoppage time. They managed to shave off a minute or two just from wasting time. So be wary of that, Pirates. My prediction here is going to be 2-1 for Orlando Pirates. I can't believe I'm predicting against my home country again, but I predicted that Pirates would win the first leg in this, and I was right, and I think they're actually going to win here again. 2-1 for Orlando Pirates, and that should wrap up this group. Moving on quickly to Joliba versus Esperance. Joliba is in my basket of teams that I said I'm not really analyzing anymore. I think Esperance is going to put them out of their misery over here. They have been by far the worst side in the CAF Champions League, and we can show them some grace because, like I said, they're quite easily the youngest side in the CAF Champions League as well, but they don't deserve to be here. Joliba nil is my prediction. Esperance 7. Okay, that's an exaggeration, but I think they're going to win by 2 goals probably. Finally, El Hilal versus Yanga. I didn't get to watch Yanga versus TP Mazembe, so that's bothering me. My analysis is not going to be completely up to date. But from what I saw and from what I read, Clement Mziza is really coming along, the Tanzanian Didier Drogba. He was doing well. Remember, he created that goal against Mazembe in Lubumbashi with his very strong shot that I believe, who was it? Was it Kennedy Musanda? No, it was Prince Dube, I think, that scored. And so, yeah, he's obviously quite a powerful striker, can hit the ball from distance. Very interesting player to watch for the years to come, especially as Tanzania is going to be hosting an AFCON and everything. Maybe he's going to be their spearhead striker. My biggest question for this match is, what is Al Hilal's motivation going to be like? I thought they looked a little bit flat against MC of Algiers at home. Excuse me. Knowing that they're qualified already, knowing that, you know, they don't have that much to play for. Are they going to experiment? Are they going to, play younger players? Yeah, I don't just know how motivated they're going to be. Especially in the first half, I thought they were really flat. The second half, they came along. They equalized against MC of Algiers. It was a moment of genius by Giro Mugisha. This Burundi talent that's just 20 years old. He's proved that he can score big goals in big moments. I think it's the second goal he scores in the dying moments of a match in the CAF Champions League group stages. Adama Koulibaly, the Messi as we called him, the Malian Messi, quiet all match, but still hit the post. So they still have those two, very talented wingers, Al Hilal do, that I really like to watch. But yeah, I just don't know how motivated they're going to be. Young guys playing for its life. They need to win both matches and hope that MC of Algiers loses. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think Young has shown enough quality over these last 4 matches to go through. I think this match is going to finish 2-2. MC of Algiers is going to win their match, as I predicted earlier, and that should be that for this group of the CAF Champions League. So yeah, sorry I'm a little bit late with this one. Sorry I've been off the radar and I didn't analyze last week's matches. I promise, analyze this week's matches first thing after the weekend. So do enjoy the matches that you watch. Let me know what you think is going to happen, and yeah, we're gonna speak very, very soon, recapping the 5th match day of the CAF Champions League. Yeah, speak to you all very soon. Peace.